Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Horror Snob. My name's Michael James. I am the Horror Snob, and I'm here today talking to you about another fresh Frights selection, Random Acts of Violence. Recently released on Shudder, and when I say recent, I mean this morning. This thing is brand poppin' new. So if you haven't seen it yet, you don't know anything about it, that's okay, understandable. I got the jump on this thing early, and I'm going to give you the breakdown in full. The main story on this one you might think is the ensemble cast on screen. People like Jessie Williams from Cabin in the Woods, Jordana Brewster, who I don't think it's a big stretch to say is most popular for her role in the Fast and Furious movies, though we fans of the horror genre probably better going to recognize her from things such as Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, maybe Home Sweet Hell, and of course, The Faculty. You also have Jay Baruchel in there, who's always in comedies. Things like Goon, She's Out of Your League, and This Is the End. Quite frankly, looking through his catalog, This Is the End is probably the closest he's ever come to horror up until this point in his career. And maybe the more shocking thing is that in this film, not only does he have a role in it, but this movie represents his second time in the director's chair and his first time doing anything that's truly in the realm of horror. This was a big step outside of his comfort zone, and I'd have to say, you can kind of feel that a little bit. It's a decent movie with some missteps, and you can feel those missteps. You can see where they were. Jordana Brewster did really well. Jay Baruchel did well in the role that he had for his own film. But the one that was the real misstep for me was Jessie Williams. A guy whose timbre of voice really makes him a little more meek than what you want in a guy who's going to be your lead dog, who's going to have to be your hero at some point in time. Towards the beginning of the film, he plays the role well, being this meek, somewhat tortured cartoon artist who's struggling with trying to find an end to a series that really made his career for him. But from that point forward, as things start to take a turn for the horrific, you really can't relate to the guy and you can't hardly cheer for him because he doesn't really move out of that meek, tortured artist type of role. There's no movement in the character. There's no growth. Some of that might be on the writing, but more than anything, it's in the acting. It's in the person presenting that role to us. Other things that I have to say I notice as a misstep, there's maybe a little bit of a resemblance to Rob Zombie's first film, House of a Thousand Corpses, in the use of some real stylized editing and color usage. The whole thing's predicated around this cartoon artist and his struggles, and then builds from there into a more typical slasher flick. But all of that stylization gets a little overused. It's a little overdone. It's good in limited doses, but when you get to a point where you've crossed that line, it's just hindering the story. It becomes a distraction. And particularly towards the end, as we're reaching the climactic point of this whole thing, it gets really lost. The climax ends up a little flat. Overall, it is a decent enough film to be worthy of a watch. That being said, for the missteps that I see, for how it could have been, the potential that was there, but what we ended up with instead, I feel like I can't really give this movie anything greater than a B-. I wish I could give it more. I like Jay. I like Jordana Brewster. The visual effects are really good. The gore is really gory, and that's great. But all of those things in balance with the missteps, it's hard to balance it all out. A worthy watch, but not a top-tier film by any means. All right, that's it for me today. For more reviews like these and to stay up to date with everything I'm pumping out, hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, leave me a comment below and let me know what you thought of this film if you've seen it. And if you haven't, are you going to watch it? My name's Michael James. I am the Horror Snob. As always, I thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.